Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Been gone for a while, but hey, what can I say? I've been busy. Figured I would show you guys my chainsaws, but before we get into that, if there's any chainsaw pros out there, or chainsaw scientists, or people who are just obnoxious about safety, don't tell me how to run a chainsaw. Go on, get out of here, you know? Just sick of it. You know, I've been running these chainsaws. I've been running chainsaws all my life. I couldn't tell you how many hours I've got behind the trigger of a chainsaw. I've yet to get hurt, and yet to break a chainsaw too. So just leave me alone, okay? Cool. So, anyways, first up, Homelite XL. I call this the honey badger, all right? Because it is small and violent, and it runs fantastic. So, what happens is I either have the idle set to where the chain will not spin, which is where it needs to be. But if that's going on, then I flood it out after like 2 or 3 minutes, 4 minutes of operation. Or I set the idle too high, and it'll allow me to run forever, but the chain won't stop moving. All right, so it tells me I probably got to rebuild the carburetor, and I've adjusted and adjusted. So before you throw out a comment when you know, well, adjust this, I've tried, and I'm pretty darn savvy. So I think that I need to just rebuild the carburetor or buy a different one. But anyways, other than that, it runs great. Now, I've seen a lot of people use these things with a 14-inch bar and even God forbid, a 16-inch bar. Far too big for this little saw. This 12-inch bar works great, and it's great for zipping through, bing, 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 cutting out the branches. It's exactly what it's for. And to get a top handle saw, if you know anything about these, you know these are damn expensive. So to get a top handle saw that runs great, and I can go through and I can zip, 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 zip all of my branches off before I grab one of the bigger saws for $40, freaking stellar. I love my honey badger. Next up, the Husqvarna 435 X-Torque, baby. This, you guys have seen me do a video on this before. If you haven't, maybe look through my videos and you'll hear me talk more about it. But this is by far and away my favorite chainsaw. Best chainsaw I've ever used in my life. I've used a lot of different chainsaws. This thing just simply does its freaking job. There you go. It is a chainsaw that has enough power to nicely pull this 16-inch chain and bar set up. I've got it a little tight there. It is, I've had it for 7 or 8 years now, and it has never failed me at all. And it's just fantastic. Now, before we get on with this video, all 3 of these saws, you may have noticed, my chains, they're sharpened, but they're spent. They're on their last legs. But you know, you can see the kind of stuff that I'm cutting here. It's leftover debris, largely from logging. And whenever you're cutting stuff like that, they're dirty, just full of dirt, because they've been dragged and things. And they're sitting on the ground, so there's those moments where I go, and I try not to, but it hits the dirt. So all of these do need better chains. Even though they are sharpened freshly, they're no good. So, but the only gripes that I have about this are the gas and oil caps. That's a really shitty design. I mean, come on, it's 2019, get with it. They may have gotten with it. I know Husqvarna is putting out a new line that are really funky looking. But these right here, if you tighten them down too tight, you cannot get them off with your hands, which, even though I just do hand tight, and I still can't get them off with just my hands. I've got to use a screwdriver along with my hand. So I'm like, and that just sucks. So, and if you get them on too tight and you use like nothing but the screwdriver, you'll crack that cap and then it'll leak, and you won't know why it's leaking. So you'll keep tightening it down, and you're like, I don't get it, why is it leaking? I got it tight. Well, you broke the cap. See, you go buy a new cap, you know, and I've learned I've got an extra cap laying around somewhere. So that sucks. But that's really my only complaint about it. It's freaking fantastic, stellar. And also, I love the kill switch. It's just right there. Boom, down. You kill it. It's great. And we'll get on steel here in a second. Next up is my Homelite 330. Now, this little jewel, I bought it at a swap meet for 50 bucks. And it had a brand new bar and chain on it. I was like, I wasn't planning on buying another chainsaw, but I said, well, dang, I've got to buy it. You give me a price like that, I feel like I have to. So, it runs fantastic, as you can see in the video. It is a nice saw to run a 20-inch bar on. Pulls this no problem. I don't know how well it would do with the 40 or the 24-inch bar, but I don't need to run a 24-inch bar because it does really well. Complaints. I forgot to turn on the camera whenever I was cold starting this, and it's been 5 or 6 days since I started it, and I had to pull it probably about 25 times to get it to start. That could be I need to rebuild my carb or something like that. If you guys know about that, then, you know, let me know. But once you've got it started and it's warm and it's good, it'll fire right up, no problem. That's really my only complaint, period, is cold starting it. It's really difficult. Oh, and if you run it out of gas and it sucks all the gas out of the tubes, you're gonna have to pull this thing like 80 times. I'm not kidding. 80 times to get it to fire off, because you've got to get all that gas up through the tubes. It would be great if it had a primer ball, but it doesn't. So anyways, I use this whenever the Husqvarna is a little bit too small. It happens, right? And 50 bucks, geez. I mean, of course I'm going to buy it. And lastly, we have the mighty Jonsered 2255. I call it lovingly Jonesy. This is Jonesy. I bought this because obviously I needed a proper, pretty big chainsaw to get through stuff like what I'm sitting on. It's still a little too small for that, I know. I've been told by a lot of people who work at or own chainsaw shops that you can't run no 24-inch bar on a 55cc. I do, and it pulls it pretty fine, you know. I mean, yeah, you can't really hammer on it and power through it and stuff, you know. But the amount of times that I need to pull this out, very minimal. Almost 100% of my work can be done with this. And then, so let's say 90% can be done with this, as far as the big stuff goes, and then 4% can be done with this one, 1% with this. So I only pull it out whenever I've got something proper and big that I've got to get through. And as long as you're not an idiot, it'll power through it just fine. You know, so 24-inch bar on a 55cc saw, the Jonsered. Now, before I let you go, we have to talk about the elephant in the room, or should I say the creamsicle in the room. Steel chainsaws. I have no problem giving my opinions, and I think at this point I'm pretty well informed. I've owned 2 steel chainsaws. One was sort of accidentally stolen from me. The guy was in a bind, and I don't think he meant to do it, but he did, and he borrowed it and then left town. Anyways, that's enough about that. I don't want to, bless his heart. He was in a real bind. I hate that he stole the saw, and I hate it even worse that he hasn't contacted me and given me some money for it now that he's back on his feet. But whatever, it is what it is. So that's gone. But it was a 009 top handle trimmer saw, and long story summed up short, this 1979 Homelite, far superior. That little 009 was finicky as heck. If it ever died or you shut it off whenever it was hot and good and warm, restarting it was a pain in the butt. It really didn't have all that much power, and it just simply wasn't worth what I paid for it. And so that's gone. Moving on. I needed one so that my wife could start it. So I went out and I bought a brand new, I believe it's an MS 180. It's got the easy pull start where it just doesn't, it just winds a spring, and all of a sudden it goes poof, and it fires it off. I got that thing brand new, and I wanted to love it. I want to like steel. I want to. But I don't. From day one, that thing sucked eggs. It just underpowered tremendously. I mean, I wasn't expecting it to be a good saw, a real strong, powerful saw that's going to cut through this. I was expecting it to be a white and orange version of this Husqvarna, but it was not. This, in every way, far superior to that steel MS 180. Even little stuff like the kill. You know, you use the kill button all the time on a freaking chainsaw. It should push down. Or you know, why do on the steels, all of them, you gotta flick it up? That's stupid. And just the fact that it wasn't as meaty of a chainsaw as this. They were appropriately sized. They were real close in every way. Just this Husqvarna outperformed it completely. So it's gone. And I will say though that the one thing that it had in spades, it was fantastic, was the chain adjustment system on that for just a little homeowner saw. Worked great. No tools required. You just adjust it right there with your hands and fingers. Also, the gas caps and stuff were really nice on it. But that's about it. And then in wrapping up, I will say that I have already ordered for my fleet, my harem. Oh yeah, I was gonna say, if there's anybody still hanging in for this is like my harem. And you know, I take each girl out for a spin whenever I need to let them know that, you know, I still cherish them and they're important to me. But the one that sleeps in my personal bed is the Husqvarna. That's goofy, right? Anyways, but I'm ordering a 5th chainsaw because I've got some milling work to do. I've got another big oak that's far bigger than this, and I got like 30 feet of trunk that's uninterrupted by branches. And so I've got to cut some slabs off of that. And to do that, I'm as skeptical as you guys are, I know, but I'm buying one of those Chinese knockoffs. It is a Chinese knockoff of the 92cc steel MS 660. And they call it, it's the Husqvarna, I think. You buy it at Farm Tech, and they call it the G660. And the reviews online are stellar. So I'm going to give it a chance because I'm buying it in kit form, which means I've got to put it all together myself. Alright? And I'm getting the damn thing for $148. So that's worth rolling the dice on, if you ask me. So hopefully it'll work great, and I'll probably do a video of that whenever I get it. So we'll see. But anyways, ta-ta for now, or as I usually say, you're welcome.